Hello, my name is Jacob Peterson. Today I'll be talking to you about my course reflection in Rest of My Google site. Hope you're having a nice day and hope you enjoy. At the beginning of this course, we were taught many things. We were taught how to look at an article and figure out how to check it for credibility. When you come up with a topic, one of the first things you have to overcome is what you already know, because what you already know may not be always true, because fake news makes it harder to figure out what is real and what is not real, which in this day and age many things will be false because it's more clickbaity, which I will go over in a little bit. But by figuring out the citations of an article website, by figuring out the author is credible, by figuring out if it's a primary or secondary source, and backtracking through the citations makes it so you, as a reader, are able to figure out if an author is credible, which I have evolved over the course of the semester as a researcher and writer by learning how to figure out sources that are correct and then figuring out where I wanted to go from there. By figuring out what I needed to cover and covering it with a mix of interesting and informing facts, it makes it so the reader might be interested in continuing reading and even maybe continuing into the research of your topic, which for me is Right to Repair. But what you have to understand throughout many different parts of an article is understanding where you can go and where you shouldn't go. Clickbait, which I talked about earlier, is defined from the Oxford Dictionary, means content on the internet whose main purpose is to attract attention and encourage visitors to click on a link to a particular web page. Meaning that a clickbait website is something that will draw a person into potentially reading/buying something, which clickbait on the internet gets a bad rap because it's usually seen as a sellout way to do things. But in this day and age, it's hard to do that. My writing process developed and changed through the slow understanding of what makes a reader interested and what turns them away. When you have grandiose words and phrases, it might scare away the average reader because they may not want to read something that takes up time learning the words or what is too full of itself. I understand that when you have something that does that sort of thing, it draws away the reader away from what they're reading. I know from experience that I may not fully want to do something like that. The writing that is in place is chosen because it's fit best after going through everything that needs to be covered. Those that were written just for this portfolio were written in a way that covered everything that I wanted to talk about and was needed to be talked about. The writing that it's the best I could come up with after helpful criticism and changes to the draft that were in place. Advancement in my writing made it possible for my writing process to figure itself out critically by figuring out what needs to be covered and then moving towards the goal of explaining it to others. Going on to talk about the author, which is myself. I was born in North Carolina and I've lived here my entire life. I'm going to major in digital marketing and I'm looking at a job in advertising. It's my dream to be able to make commercials that will draw attention to itself and, might make something stupid or something laugh, or someone laugh, if you know what I mean. My work in this class has really helped me understand how to do writing. Because in earlier classes, I just did what I needed to do and move on. But by really drafting out what I was going to talk about and changing it and moving forward and changing it again makes it so I understand what I'm talking about better, and makes it so the reader can understand it better. Because in my text on this site, it's about right to repair, and I didn't understand the history before now, but thanks to what I have in place, it's made it possible for me to talk about it in fullness. Talking about my infographic, I made it so it talked about e-waste, which is a consequence of not having right to repair due to us as civilized people. We like to have electronics and the next newest thing, which creates trash with the containers that they're contained in and the electronics that we don't want anymore. And the combination of the two creates half the waste that's in landfills. And by having right to repair, it makes it so that's not as big of a deal, or it minimizes the consequences of e-waste and other attributing factors. Which, moving on to my academic argument, my argument, I feel like, is the best out of all of my papers, because it goes into everything that I have about right to repair, where the infographic and the anti-bibliography are scratching the surface. When you read the academic argument, it makes it so you are able to understand everything a lot better in more detail. My research process, I put in here because by having proof that it wasn't the first draft makes it so you can understand that there's more that goes into the final before you call it done. Which I did a lot of changes from draft 3.2 to what I have here for the academic argument, which I would say is pretty good. Moving on to the annotated bibliography. I put this at the end, or near the end, just because I felt like it was more of just a glorified works cited page. And I know you shouldn't look at it like that, but I personally felt like it would go pretty good here at the very end, or near the end, because the reader can go in to the annotated bibliography and figure out what websites they could go look for if they want more information or understand, hey, this is where it comes from. And then going on, I put a contact the author page just in the event that I wanted to have something near it. If anyone had questions or comments about what I wrote, they can contact me. And that's pretty much it. Thank you for watching this video. I understand if my voice was very monotone. I'm very tired. I hope you have a nice day. Thank you.